Hello, Internet! This is Shalthis, and it's time for another episode of ShoutStone. Today we are bringing you a Cockatrice Hearthstone shout match between HS Evatar and HS Cast. This is a Shaman versus Shaman match. I'm not going to waste any time because this is a very long game, so let's get right into action. So this is what you see when you're in Cockatrice. If you're not familiar with it, I'll talk a little bit more about the program as we get into the game. But we're going to kick things off right away. HS Cast starting things off by playing the coin, and he will be starting with Knife Juggler to get the things going. Now I'm going to be showing you the cards in the upper right-hand corner, excuse me, so you'll be able to get a kind of closer look at what's going on. Knife Juggler, of course, a great handy minion. Stormforge Axe coming out. That does have one overload. So when it comes to Stormforge Axe, or pretty much any card with overload, basically it's the reason that the cards are so much more powerful than equivalent cards of their cost is that overload means that one of your mana, or whatever the amount is after overload, that amount of mana is not usable the next turn. Now keep in mind, when we're playing in Cockatrice, it does make it kind of hard for everybody to kind of keep track of all this little stuff, so you might see some mistakes happening. Some people may call them on it, some people may not. But anyway, as things go right now, the Knife Juggler has been taken out by that Stormforged Axe, and a totem has come into play. So as you can see right now, Evatar is pretty much keeping up on that. He's clearing the field of minions. He's kept up with the mana crystal that's not useful because it's an overload. I know that HS Cast does tend to actually flip his mana crystal when it's an overload, so that's a little easier to kind of keep track of. But so far, minions are clear. Wrath of Air totem is out on the field. Here comes the Imp Master. Of course, Imp Master is great for just flooding the field with little minions every turn. As you can see in the corner of every little card on the field, it might be a little tricky to see if you're not watching this in a large format, but basically there's little tiny numbers on each card that indicate what their current health and damage totals are, because they fluctuate depending on buffs and when damage is taken and things like that. So right now that Imp Master is 1/4. Dalaran Mage hitting the field, 2/4 minion gets +1 spell power, but he'll also get +1 spell power from that Wrath of Air totem. Here comes Forked Lightning, deals 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions, so it will get buffed +2. So it's going to take out both those minions once again. Field is clear, and that Forked Lightning has done its job. Now one thing to keep in mind, when watching and casting these games on Cockatrice, there are large portions of play where basically everything gets kind of quiet because there's a lot of thinking involved, and a lot of the mechanics that are otherwise normally just played are pretty much have to be worked out by the individual players. Well, Ascension Shieldmaster has hit the field. 3/5 minion, has taunt. It's a pretty handy 4-drop minion, I must say. And it's a great way to kind of absorb some damage, or at least take damage off of your hero if need be, or off of any other minion in particular. That's going to wrap up Cast's turn. Let's head back to Evatar. He's going to do a 4-drop here. Or I think actually just a 2-drop. Yeah, you'll be playing another totem. Now, the way this works, normally when you use the Shaman hero power to grant a totem, it'll just randomly throw one out there for you. In this case, they have that sidebar that has all 4 totems listed, and they just roll a 4-sided die to see which one it actually is. So here comes Earthshock. That's going to be a... it silences and it deals 1 damage, but it is going to be buffed with +2 spell power, plus an attack from that Dalaran Mage, which is going to be 3 from the spell, 2 from that mage, and enough to take care of the Shield Master. So, it just got a little less trolly in here, now that the Shield Master is gone. And yes, you have to say it like that every time. I'm pretty sure that is in the rules. It is in the Hearthstone Shoutcaster's Guide to Formalities. I have no idea what I'm saying right now. I'm making words with my mouth, but they make no sense. Anyway, let's just get right back into the game. But yeah, no, the card is a Shield Master. And it's not Shield Master, Shield Master. You have to say it like that. Oh, you come off like an idiot. Alright, Cast is playing Lightning Storm. Now again, this is one of those cards that has a random effect. It deals 2 to 3 damage to all minions, so you have to kind of if need be. If there's minions that have more than 2 health on the field for your opponent, then you have to roll to see how much you get. You basically roll a 2-sided die. If it's 1, you get 2 damage. If it's 2, you get 3 damage. Basically, you'll see a lot of that. A lot of die rolling, a lot of kind of random generating throughout this game. But it's just kind of the way it is. I mean, as it stands right now, things are running a little slow. And as you can see, for Cast on his side of the table, he does have 2 mana in Overload. So those are flipped. So he's keeping those in Overload for now. Feral Spirit hitting the field, a 3-drop minion that summons 2 wolves, or a 3-drop spell, I should say, that summons 2 wolves with Taunt. A very potent spell because it's super handy to get those 2 tauntable minions out there. Searing Totem, of course, a very lovely little minion. It's really handy when you can buff up your Searing Totem, or really any of your totems, because they're so easily replaceable, as it were. You don't have to rely on a card in your deck or anything, or a card in your hand or anything like that. Alright, so the table is set. Cast is going up next here. Right now, as far as health totals go, it is a 3 health differential for HS Cast, but that's pretty much deadlock at this point. It's not a sizable enough difference to really matter. Now keep in mind, this is a very long game. I think this is going to take about half an hour, so if you want to grab something to drink, pause it, come back later, that's perfectly fine, I understand. Unlike the actual Hearthstone game, when you have to figure everything out on your own, it can take a lot of extra time. So, playing another totem, I'm going to get that Healing Totem out there. Healing Totem, I mean, goes without saying how handy a Healing Totem is. It does only have 2 health, though, so anything you can do to kind of buff that up, to try and keep it on the field as long as possible, especially if you're taking damage, it's very useful. And the handy thing about that, too, is that if you have high-cost minions, Healing Totem comes into effect really nicely in the mid to late game. I mean, that's not to say that it's not really nice in the early game, it's nice at any point, but it's really good in the mid to late game when you're going to have higher-cost minions out there who are generally not going to die in the first turn. So they're going to be taking damage. Healing Totem is great because it not only heals you as the hero, but it also heals your friendly minions. So it helps keep you with a fairly stacked field for a good period of time. Of course, you know, it's random, so you may not always get Healing Totem, so you can't always dictate when you're going to be able to play it. But, alright, Forked Lightning coming out now. Another 2 damage to 2 random minions, so in this case, he has to roll dice to decide what it's going to be. So he rolls a 1 on that one, so it's going to take out that totem, and it's just going to take damage to one of those wolves. So, there's really no randomization there necessary, because it's just going to hurt one of the wolves to 2-1 instead of 2-3. But it is going to tag that wolf, so now we are waiting to see what will happen next. Only 1 mana left for Cast, so he's probably going to end up passing the turn. Doubt he has anything left he can really do here. Oh, he's just going to attack with that Searing Totem to finish that wolf off. Okay, that is actually a pretty smart move there. It will cost him that totem, but that's okay. Help kind of get rid of as many of those tauntable minions as possible. Back to Evatar. He is going to pop 2, see if he can actually call out a totem or play something here. You gotta spend a lot of time thinking, okay, he's actually going to do a 4-drop here. And that will be a Wrath of Air totem. So he is actually doing a totem and... Oh no, he's still in Overload, so he's just playing that up. Okay. So he finally gets rid of that axe, with its durability finally running out. Attacking the hero with the Spirit Wolf, brings out another Stormforged axe. To set things up once again. So I'm not quite sure why Cast still has 2 mana unusable right now. I know that later in the game he does finally reset them. They should be available now. He doesn't have anything in Overload or anything like that, so I'm not really sure. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know why he's holding on to that, but that's okay. We're just going to keep on going. Brings the Shield Bearer out. Shield Bearer is an awesome, awesome minion. Not only because it's, you know, it's only 1 drop and it's 4 health, so it's a great way to absorb damage, especially in the early game. But you can buff up its attack power, like by dropping a Flame Tongue Totem, and now it's all of a sudden got 2 attack. So now this highly defensive minion is a 2/4 minion for, you know, 1 cost. Granted, yeah, you had to play the Flame Tongue Totem, but you may already have something like that out there. Also going to drop a Wrath of Air Totem, Now, because of the Flame Tongue, it's also going to be a 2/2 minion. So as it stands right now, Shield Bearer is 2/4, Flame Tongue Totem is 0/3, and the Wrath of Air is 2/2, because of that buff from the Flame Tongue Totem. Turn gets passed back to Evatar, and he is going to have to consider his next move wisely. Still has that Spirit Wolf at full health. That Wrath of Air Totem can come in handy if he has any spell effects in his deck. He still has that Axe in play. Just kind of holding off here. So he is going to drop a Stoneclaw Totem. That'll have 2 defense. It's basically just a tauntable totem. Helps to keep the attention off of anything else. And he will drop Lightning Storm. Now that does get +1 from that Wrath of Air Totem. So it can deal 3 to 4 damage. But it does cost 2 overload. So he's actually going to... So they're going to roll for the Shield Bearer. And it will do 3 damage to the Shield Bearer and take everything else off the field. That's basically what it was a roll for. I mean, that was guaranteed to take out the 2 totems. And it would take Shield Bearer down to an 0/1 minion, because that totem is now... that Flame Tongue Totem is now gone. And here comes another Flame Tongue Totem. For our opponent, Evatar, who is now going to attack with Wrath of Air, which is 2 damage, take out that minion, and deal the Spirit Wolf to deal another bunch of damage to Thrall, as well as the Stormforged Axe. So, alright, tables are starting to turn a little bit in favor of Evatar. See, it's one of those matchups where I can't just refer to them as the Shaman player, because they're both the Shaman player, so it makes my casting job a little bit difficult as we go forward, but it's fine. They're cast at Evatar. I see their names right in front of me. Of course, when we get into the real game, I'll be able to cast by their names as well, because I'll be able to see their names there too. Alright, so he does drop a totem, Healing Totem on the field. Good point for it too. Kinda need it. Health is starting to get a little low. He's going to tap some additional mana. Let's see what else hits the field. This will be a 3-drop. He's considering his next move carefully. Now, the thing about Cockatrice is basically... Okay, well, here we go. Mana Tide Totem coming down. So that's a nice handy little totem there. It's got a pretty good amount of health, and it helps you kind of build up your hand by getting an extra card at the end of every turn. And he also will drop Forked Lightning. That's going to do 2 damage to 2 random minions, so it's time to roll. He's going to deal 2 damage to that Spirit Wolf. And 2 damage to the Wrath of Air Totem to get rid of it. So, I think that's going to be all that we can really do here. He might... No, yeah, that's all he's got, so he's going to pass the turn. So yeah, the thing about Cockatrice is, like I said, you basically have to keep track of everything you do in this game, and hopefully your opponent is doing the same. Because you are acting as the check and balance for yourself and your opponent in this game to try to make sure everybody's following the rules correctly. Because the vast majority of these cards are designed to be handled by the back-end system of Hearthstone. So that you don't have to think about it. You just play the cards and the system handles the rest. But Evatar is going to drop another Healing Totem out there. Or drop another totem, which just happens to be a Healing Totem. So that's pretty handy. Still has that Flame Tongue Totem on the field, which is giving that extra attack to both Spirit Wolf and Stoneclaw. I think he might be rooting around for a spell effect. No, he's going to... Oh, yeah, sort of. He's going to bring out Rockbiter Weapon, put that on his Flame Tongue, which is going to add a little bit of damage. So that's a +3 attack for that Flame Tongue. Attack with the Stoneclaw as well, so minions are clear. Spirit Wolf attacks Thrall once again. It ain't looking good. And he is going to be dropping an Ancient Mage. So adjacent minions get +1 spell power. So it's looking pretty handy. But that Rockbiter Weapon did its job and helps clear the field once again for Evatar. So as you can see, just basic kind of on the layout here, just if you're not familiar with it, if you look up at Evatar's top half of the screen, I'll kind of explain what you see. The multicolored gems along the side there are just various tokens, because this was basically a program that was designed for Magic the Gathering, and there's a lot of token use in that game. So you may not use them too much in Hearthstone, but that's what they're there for. Of course, the first option there, with the back of the cards with the 18 on them, that's the deck of what's left in the deck. The 2 cards are in his hand. He's got 8 cards in his graveyard, and I believe the lower part of the deck is for cards that are exiled from the game, so you may not see, again, that too much in this game. And there's also tokens that are going to be on hand for like various minions that spawn based off the cards you have in the deck, so you have to have the tokens on hand as well, but they don't go in your deck because they're not actually cards. Anyway, Cass is going to be dropping a Violet Teacher, and then playing Lightning Storm. Now, not only will Lightning Storm deal 2 to 3 health, 2 to 3 damage to every minion out there, it will deal 2 damage. So it's going to take out that Wolf, it's going to take out the Stoneclaw Totem and the Healing Totem. And in the sideboard is where you keep all your tokens. So by playing that spell, he will get an extra 1/1 minion on the field. And there it is, the Violet Apprentice. And it's a fairly cheap minion, but it's free. You know, you just cast a spell and you get one. And the turn's going to be passed again, so Evatar is back up and ready to go. He has hit 10 mana. Now, this is basically the mana cap. You don't go beyond 10 mana in these games, so once you hit 10, that is your cap for the rest of the game. Usually games don't go quite this far, or if they do, they end very quickly, but this game does not look like it's going to end very quickly. In fact, I know it's not going to end very quickly. I can tell you that much right now. I have already seen it. So, I seen it. Alright, drops the totem. Wrath of Air Totem hits the field. And that does get +2 attack. He's going to attack with that Dalaran Mage, or Ancient Mage, excuse me, to deal another 4 damage to Thrall. Or to cast, I should say. And going to use the attack and drop Hex on that other minion. Now, Hex basically triggers first, so it reduces the minion that he targeted to an 0/1 minion, but then when he attacks with the axe, it just killed it right off, so he didn't even bother with it. So the Violet Teacher is gone. Still has that Violet Apprentice on the field, however. But, going to drop a quick Lava Burst to attack Thrall with. And that Lava Burst will do a sizable amount of damage, 5 damage to Thrall. And he is going to also drop Earth Shock. And that will take care of the Apprentice. So again, the field is clear, and things are looking mighty good for Evatar, as he is up 28 to 8 right now. That is a pretty substantial advantage for Evatar. But he's still going to be able to finish it off. And that's the trick. When you get into this point, you're basically in the 10 crystal stage of the game. Everybody has full mana. There's a lot of options now. And, I mean, Cass does have the hand advantage with 4 cards in his hand. So there's a lot of stuff he can drop. Like, he's going to drop that Fen Creeper, a 3/6 minion with Taunt. So that'd be a great way to absorb some damage. And he's also going to play a Mana Tide Totem, once again, 0/3 minion. And at the end of every turn, he gets to draw a card. So that turn just came to an end. He gets to draw an extra card. This is going to help him keep a strong hand. And really, having a big hand is good in any of these types of games. You know, it doesn't matter if it's Magic the Gathering, the World of Warcraft, TCG, Hearthstone, or anything. Your cards are your currency. They're your attack, your defense. They're the only way you can win this game. And if you have no cards in your hand, then you're going to go multiple turns without an option to play most times. Or at least without a good option to play. And that gives your opponent, who may have more cards in their hand, a chance to recover and take you out. So that Searing Totem comes out into the field. He's also going to play Hex on the Fen Creeper. And he could attack with that Stone-Forged Axe again if he wants to, or any of his other minions that happen to be available. So there goes the Frog minion. Oh, Kirby! Look at... I'm not even going to bother. Alright, attacks with the Stone-Forged Axe. The Wrath of Air Totem takes the Frog out of play. Ancient Mage takes the Mana Totem out of play. So again, the field is clear for our opponent. So Cass is down to 6 health, but it is his turn. He's got 4 cards in his hand, a full mana pot. I think he finally realized that those pieces of mana were still stuck in Overload. Another Senjin Shield Master hits the field. 3/5 minion with Taunt. Cult Master This one's very handy. Whenever another one of your other minions dies, you get an extra card. Another great way to keep your your hand full, and does play a totem and passes the hand. So he's stocking up pretty well. And that's the good thing with having a deck that kind of has a lot of mid to low cost minions, is that you can throw a lot on the field when you get to this late game period. Unbound Elemental is going to be cast for Evatar now. That's a 2/4 minion. Anytime you play a card with Overload, it gains 1/1. So that's very handy in a Shaman deck that's just loaded with Overload cards. Does drop a healing totem with his last totem play, but he's out of cards. So now it's a matter of deciding what are you going to attack with. And this is the problem right now. He's out of cards. He's got 5 mana left, but he's out of cards. He didn't have any options left. So he's going to attack with that Ancient Mage and that Wrath of Air totem. It's going to cost him both of them, but he will take that Sen'jin Shield Master out. Sorry, Sen'jin Shield Master. I said it wrong. I almost got fined. But... and he's going to attack with that Searing Totem to take that Cult Master out and cost him the Searing Totem, but that's okay. That Healing Totem is going to go up to a 2/2 minion as he passes the turn, because it's still being buffed by that Flame Tongue. But again, Cast has a pretty large hand. He's got a 4-card hand right now. Does have that Healing Totem out into play. It's given him 1 health back already. All it takes is just a couple turns, and if he's not appropriately taken out, then he could turn this game around. You know, this looks really bad, but the lovely part about Hearthstone is that it is not over yet. Not even close. It ain't over until your opponent blows up into dust. That's all I can really say. They have to be just bits and pieces on the ground, or this game is still going. And it is still going, believe you me. So Cast is really going to try to make a good decision here, because he knows he's on the back foot right now. He's got to make a smart decision with what he has in his hand to try and respond to what his opponent can deal. And his opponent's got a 4/4 minion on the field, he's got a 2/2 healing totem, and who knows what else is in his hand, or at least he can draw. I mean, he doesn't have any hand right now, so he can just draw something that could be potent to end this game. But alright, Cast is doing a 4-drop here, it looks like. Or at least he's dropping 4 mana. Maybe. And that's the thing, is, you know, well, in the real game, okay, he's changed his mind about the 4-drop. He might just go with something lesser, something more. Well, let's say something less, of course. He's going to do a 3-drop instead. That's the thing about this game, is that you have to tap your mana before you're going to play the card. So he's going to drop an Imp Master instead, 1/5 minion every turn. The Imp Master takes 1 damage and throws a 1/1 Imp on the field. We saw him earlier. Her earlier, excuse me. Alright, and a Searing Totem comes into play. Gonna burn the rest of his mana. And throw out something. Bloodlust. That gives every minion +3 attack. So that Healing Totem, +3 attack, finally takes out that Flame Tongue Totem. So that reduces the attack power of every other minion on his opponent's side. Very handy. The Imp Master is a 3/5 minion right now, but it's not going to attack. I don't know. Maybe it could, but it's, no, actually it can't. I'm sorry. It's still exhausted. Usually I can tell that sort of stuff, but it does do a great job of taking out that Flame Tongue Totem, which reduces the amount of threat that he has to deal with right now. But an Azure Drake hits the field for Evatar. And another another Azure Drake. Yeah, I already saw this game. I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was just making sure that I was highlighting every card, because I don't cast and watch these matches at the same time, because I try to get an idea of what to expect. But here you go. 2 Azure Drakes are on the field. That's +2 spell power, and he gets to draw 2 extra cards every time. He gets to draw a card every time he plays it. So that's handy when you are basically working off of a 0-card hand. So he's going to start by attacking that Healing Totem and taking it out with the Unbound Elemental. So as it stands right now, all of these cards are on the field completely unbuffed, except for that spell power. But there are no spells being played right now. So yeah, all these cards are unbuffed. Here comes a Cult Master. We saw him earlier. Whenever one of your minions dies, you draw a card. One of your other minions dies. Doesn't count for him. And another large drop coming here. Bloodlust, once again, everything gets 3/3. Or +3, excuse me. Just +3 attack. So he's got a pretty sizable attack squad here. He might help to kind of clear the field out. Let's see what he attacks with first. And it's a lot of decision making, especially when you play the game like this. So he's going to use the Searing Totem to take out the Azure Drake, the Imp to take out the other Drake. So he's going to lose both his Imp and his Searing Totem, but that's a pretty good trade. Take out two Azure Drakes with two very cheap minions, using the Imp Master to take out the Earthbound Elemental. Eats a sizable amount of damage, but it's going to drop another Imp, and it's probably going to kill it off. But still has that Cult Master in play. It's just brand new, so he can't really do anything with it at the moment. However, he was able to draw a couple extra cards because he lost a couple minions on that attack, thanks to the Cult Master. So still, as you can see, 4 cards in the hand to 1 card in the hand for Evatar. I mean, Evatar, yeah, he still has the sizable health advantage, but things are looking interesting now, because he's working off a very minimal deck. Or minimal hand. I'm sorry, I keep stepping on the wrong word there. Yeah, very minimal hand right now, of only 2 cards. Going to play Searing Totem, or going to play a Totem ability, Zero Power, to get a Searing Totem on the field. I don't know what he has in his hand, if he has anything. But that's the problem. I mean, he's sitting on 8 mana right now, and he's only got 2 cards in his hand. He might not have anything really worth playing. Well, he does have Lightning Storm. Deals 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions. So he's going to roll to see if it does 2 or 3. It does only do 2, so it will take that Cult Master down to 1 HP. Not enough to kill it, but enough to deal a sizable chunk of damage. Only 1 card left in his hand, 5 mana to go. But he does pass the turn anyway. So Cast is going to go next here. Loaded hand. Absolutely loaded hand. Loaded mana. This is the kind of recovery part that makes me love this game, because this can happen in a real game situation. You know, you've got your opponent so deep on the back foot here, 30 to 8, but he has a loaded hand. He has full mana. He could do almost anything to even this game out, possibly win. I mean, I know that sounds kind of far-fetched. A lot of the games we've played, or a lot of the games we've seen where this kind of advantage has happened, it makes you think like, oh my god, there's, you know, that's it, he's done. But that's not the case, not always. Alright, so he's going to play that Stormforged Axe. One of his mana will be burned on Overload. He's going to use it to take that Healing Totem out. And see what else he has here. So the beautiful thing about Cockatrice is that you can really, you know, you're basically able to play the game for free as long as you're really familiar with the rules. You just got to kind of learn how to operate Cockatrice a bit, of course. But anyway, Feral Spirit and Fen Creeper being played, so again, that Feral Spirit will trigger 3 wolves, and we know that Fen Creeper, who we saw earlier, is a pretty formidable minion at 3/6. So here we are. This is the point where things can start to turn around, just like I said. It's just looking that way. He's going to use that Cult Master to deal a bit of damage to Evatar, finally. Finally, the attacks on the hero begin. And the turn is passed, so he did have to exhaust 3 minion for Overload, excuse me. But let's see how Evatar will respond to Cast's attack. He's going to do a 4-drop here. Alright, she's going to drop a Totem into play, but he did burn another 2. They could have been overloaded. Man, it's a little hard to keep track of, I'll admit. Alright, he's going to play Forked Lightning. Again, that deals 2 damage to 2 random minions. Let's see what they are. It's going to be that Fen Creeper. It's going to go down to 4 HP. And it's going to be that Spirit Wolf. That will go down to 1. So the first Spirit Wolf is going to be a 2/1 minion at this point. That Cult Master is still at 4/1. Fen Creeper now at 3/4, and the other Spirit Wolf is still at full health, so not much to worry about there. And he's going to attack that Fen Creeper with that Searing Totem. It will eliminate the Searing Totem, but he does also have Lightning Bolt That'll deal 3 damage to wrap up that Fen Creeper, get it out of there. Fairly smart move, but it is showing that he's pretty much on the back foot here, like I said. So, alright, he is going to pass the... He has passed the turn already, I should say. And it's back to cast. Still sitting on 8 HP, but has a lot of options at this point. Every minion he has is ready to go, unless he drops something new, and he probably will. And he drew his card for that Cult Master. Look at this, it's a 5-0 hand difference. He's dropped like Flame Tongue Totem, which is... We saw that many times already. Incredibly handy minion. Gives his Spirit Wolf an extra bit of attack. So at this point, he could use the smaller wolf to take that Stoneclaw Totem out and then just attack. Like, he can just go full out, Cult Master, other Spirit Wolf. That's going to deal 10 damage. And he's also got the Violet Teacher out there, so if he has any spells, he can do that. So he's going to attack, just take that Totem out. Now it's just time to attack the hero, just like I said. Spirit Wolf, Cult Master, and the Flame Tongue, and the Stone Forged Axe, excuse me. So that is a good 12 amount of damage that has been dealt. So now, all of a sudden, this sizable attack difference has suddenly tilted heavily in Cast's favor. And that was really it. Evatar concedes the game. And I think he realized at that point that he just didn't have the cards to really respond appropriately. And it showed. You know, that's the beautiful thing about this game, and that's why I love it so much, is you can be so far in the hole, but if you have a hand, if you have the card advantage, you can come back, and you can win. If your opponent just burns through their hand, but can't finish the job, you can come back and take it. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's the first ever Cockatrice cast I did. I hope I did alright there for you. I know I'm still kind of getting the hang of the program a bit. You know, it's pretty easy when you're just observing. But that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for sticking around for this very long episode of Shoutstone. We'll be back tomorrow with more, of course. As always, I'll try to do more Cockatrice casts until the beta comes out. But again, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, if you really enjoyed this, you can like it, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description. And that'll do it for this episode of Shoutstone. We'll see you next time.